So where to live in Charlotte, North Carolina? If you're thinking about relocating or buying a house in Charlotte, this question's probably top of mind lately. So today I'm going to try and help you dial that in a bit. So one question that I love to ask new clients is, what is your lifestyle like? Because that's going to be such a big deciding factor in finding an area that you're going to love living in. So we are going to go over the different areas of Charlotte as they may pertain to certain lifestyles or preferences to hopefully give you a better idea of Charlotte and make your move just a little easier. Let's jump in. So we are going to start off with an overview of Charlotte. Now, please keep in mind, this is a general overview. This is not a steadfast rule of thumb. There are, of course, exceptions. This is just to give you a basic idea of the lay of the land. So if you look at a map of Charlotte, for the most part, everything that's going to be around the 485 Beltway will be considered the city of Charlotte, with the exception of this section here, which are the towns of Mint Hill and Matthews. And then just south of 485, this section here is going to be considered the city of Charlotte. Now, one thing a lot of people don't realize is that Charlotte actually borders South Carolina, and the South Carolina border is going to be right here. And then right here in the center, you're going to have our downtown, which is what we call Uptown. Sometimes you might see it referred to as city center, but it is what we call Uptown. So Charlotte was actually built around Uptown. So the closer you get to the center of the city, the more densely populated it's going to be. And the farther away you get from the 485, the more rural it will be. We also have the Charlotte Douglas Airport, which is going to be right here. And then finally, you'll have our lakes. So we've got 3 lakes. You have Lake Norman, which is going to be our northern lake. You've got Mountain Island Lake, which is going to be a lot smaller. And then you're going to have Lake Wiley. So Charlotte is going to have hundreds of different neighborhoods within the city limits. But when you start going outside of the 485 Beltway, you're going to have several neighboring suburban towns that are going to make up the Charlotte Metro. And one thing about the Charlotte Metro that's really great, at least compared to other cities I've lived in, is a lot of these suburban towns are still really close together. So you can get to the center of the city within about 30 minutes from most of these towns. So it makes you still really connected, even though you live on the outskirts. And by the way, my name is Milena. I'm a local Charlotte realtor. I work with people all over the country, all over the world even, who are looking to buy a house or sell a house in the Charlotte area. If you're thinking about making a move, please don't hesitate to reach out. Here's all my information. It's also down below in the description. And leave us a comment. Let us know what area of Charlotte you want to hear more about. Now let's dive in a bit deeper into these different areas. So if you want to be in the thick of the action, in a more metropolitan urban environment with lots of options for entertainment, you'll likely enjoy living in and around Uptown. So one thing that I really love about our city is that we have several entertainment districts, and they're all really close together. Many of them even connect via the Charlotte Light Rail. And that connectivity means that no matter which one of these entertainment districts that you decide to live in, all of the rest are still going to be really close and accessible. So let's start off at the center. As I mentioned, Uptown is our downtown, but it's not just the financial and business hub of our city. So it's not like one of those cities where you just go and you work and then it becomes a dead zone after work hours. People do live and hang out uptown. Now, I will say it did get a little sleepy post-COVID, so you wouldn't necessarily say that Uptown is the epicenter of entertainment in Charlotte. You will have some great restaurants, rooftop bars, museums, and theaters. It's just not as lively as it used to be. But the biggest draw for people to come uptown are definitely the sports. So Uptown is where the Charlotte Hornets, the Carolina Panthers, and the Charlotte FC play. During home games, there's tailgating all over Uptown. It's a lot of fun, and it brings out a lot of energy and life to the city. But definitely be warned, I used to live in Uptown, and while it was an absolute blast, during the home games and special events, there are a lot of road closures, so it can be a little bit inconvenient at times. But if you plan accordingly, it's not too bad. Just prepare yourself. Now, as far as buying a home uptown, you're going to have options for high-rise condos and townhomes. There will be some single-family homes, but not too many. However, there are several neighborhoods with single-family homes within walking distance to Uptown. And then just south of Uptown, you're going to have South End. And this really has just become an extension of Uptown. Over the last few years, there have been brand new high-rises, commercial retail, corporate buildings, everything is coming to this section of town. So this used to be the industrial section of Charlotte, but now it's the top entertainment spot. Many of the original warehouses and mills have been repurposed and now house Charlotte's top restaurants, bars, and retail. And South End's also known for the rail trail, and this is a running and walking trail that goes along the Charlotte Light Rail. It runs directly through the neighborhood, so you will see people out and about all of the time. There is a lot of movement and a lot of energy in this section of town. It's a lot of fun. You're gonna have a lot of young professionals living here. Now, if you're looking to buy property here, you're gonna primarily have options for condos and townhomes in South End proper. But right next to South End, you will have single-family homes in the neighborhoods of Wilmore and Dilworth. And then just south of South End, you're going to have Lower South End, also known as LoSo. This is a very new section of town in terms of entertainment options. Similar to South End, this area was filled with warehouses and industrial buildings up until fairly recently. So the name LoSo is a new moniker. And some people truly hate the name LoSo, so use the term at your discretion. I don't really know what else to call it, but people really hate that name. Now, LoSo is also known as the brewery district, and that's really how this section of town became so popular. A lot of the warehouses were converted into breweries, but over the last couple of years, this area has really expanded far beyond being just the brewery district. You've got an awesome pickleball court, a live music venue, and a brand new strip of restaurants and bars called LoSo Village. And being that this area is still up and coming, it's one of the few entertainment districts in Charlotte where you can buy a house in the vicinity at a semi-reasonable price. And then just southeast of Loso, you're gonna have this section here. Some people refer to it as Park Road or Montford. The names are kind of interchangeable. So not only does this area have great options for dining and entertainment, it's gonna be great in terms of being centrally located. And if you want more of a suburban neighborhood feel, but you want the perks of living in a city, this is an excellent area. Madison Park specifically is a great residential neighborhood that's just really centrally located. And then next to Park Road in Montford, you're gonna have the South Park area. So South Park is known for being home to our luxury mall. But there are a lot of really cool new restaurants and breweries and bars that have recently opened up in this section of town. Just note you will be paying a premium if you plan to buy a house here. And then looping back up to Uptown, you have Elizabeth, which is home to Charlotte Community College, our major hospital, and some adorable coffee shops and restaurants. And then you have the Plaza Midwood and Noda area. And those next two are gonna lead us into our next lifestyle. If you're looking for more of the artistic, bohemian scene here in Charlotte, Noda and Plaza Midwood are going to be the areas that you're probably going to want to focus in on. Now, they are right next to Uptown, so you're still going to have that urban metropolitan feel, but it's going to be a little bit more unique and eclectic than the other areas of Charlotte. So notice where most people think of when they think of our arts district. You're going to have art everywhere, from art galleries to murals to art installations, street vendors. It's really fun, it's really lively, it's very funky. You're going to have a lot of eclectic dining, great local music venues, and some excellent cocktail bars. And then just south of Noda, you're going to have Plaza Midwood. So similar to Noda, this area is known for being vibrant and artsy, and it has a really eclectic energy. You'll have great coffee shops, bars, excellent restaurants. In fact, one of the restaurants, Supperland, was actually named one of the top 40 restaurants in America by Esquire magazine. And Plaza is also known for having some great annual festivals, and on top of that, a section of Plaza Midwood just became Charlotte's first social district. This is an area where you can walk around with an open container, somewhat similar to Savannah and New Orleans. But there are significant changes happening in Plaza Midwood. So Plaza is directly next to Uptown, and there is a lot of development underway. You're gonna have new buildings, businesses, even high-rises are coming here. So because of all of that development, sadly, a lot of the really loved and iconic restaurants and local businesses that Plaza's always been known for have recently been demoed or priced out. So there's really a big noticeable shift that's happening in this neighborhood. And one of the biggest new developments is Commonwealth. This is a 12-acre mixed-use development that's underway right in the middle of Plaza Midwood. Now, this used to be essentially a massive parking lot, and now it's set to be a massive mixed-use development with retail, dining, residential office spaces, even new roads. It is near completion, and it's really going to change the landscape of not just Plaza Midwood, but I really think the city in general. You have to think, 12 acres are a lot of acres in the middle of a city. So it's going to be really interesting to see what identity Plaza Midwood takes in the next few years. Now, as far as housing in these areas, you're going to have options for condos, townhomes, and single-family housing. Now, the single-family housing will vary in this section of town. Now, I'm going to venture to say that this section of town has the most diverse architecture in all of Charlotte. You've got everything from early 1900s bungalows to mid-century ranches to brand new construction that ranges from traditional to ultra modern. Now, in between Noda and Plaza Midwood, you're going to have a few residential neighborhoods that are going to share that same eclectic, funky vibe. Just to name a few, you've got Villa Heights, Belmont, and Plaza Shamrock. Now, these areas do come with a bit of a higher price tag, so if you like this kind of energy and this kind of area, here are some great neighborhoods in this area that are significantly more affordable. So where in Charlotte should you live if you want new construction? So you're gonna have a few different options. New construction is really big in Charlotte. With us being such a growing city, we've truly run out of homes and run out of space. So you're gonna have new construction in master plan communities, infill housing, and of course condos and townhomes. As far as pricing, the median price for a new construction single-family home in the city of Charlotte is $443,000 and $425,000 within the metro area. The median price for a new construction townhome or condo in Charlotte is $418,000, with it being $393,000 in the metro. Now, if you're looking for new construction closer to the city, you will not have many options for master plan communities. Your options are going to primarily consist of condos, townhomes, and infill housing. You're of course familiar with condos and townhomes, but infill housing might be unfamiliar. So this is incredibly common in the Charlotte area. This is where an existing house is demolished and a new, often bigger house is rebuilt in its place. And since we have so many old neighborhoods in Charlotte, and land is scarce, this has become the new norm over the last several years. So you're gonna find infill housing everywhere, from your standard neighborhood to the ultra luxury areas. And most of Charlotte's infill builders will be boutique, local niche builders. You won't find those big national builders like Pulte or Lennar building these types of homes. Those builders will typically be building in master plan communities. So if this is more your speed, we have a ton of options. Master plan communities will be the larger new build communities. They're gonna be pretty uniform. The houses are gonna have a very cohesive look, and you're gonna find the highest concentration of master plan communities on the outskirts of Charlotte in the suburban towns around the 485, where there's just a lot more space for development. And one of those suburban towns that I really love in terms of price and convenience is Stanley. I really think this is a sleeper town. It's about 30 minutes from Uptown and not far from Lake Norman. And there's one new build community in particular that I really love in Stanley because of their quality and affordability. And they've been offering incredible rate buy downs right now, which I think anybody can appreciate. So reach out if you want more info. I just really think they're a great solid builder. Now, if you like the idea of a master plan community and you want to be closer to the city, most of the new construction communities will be around the 485, but the highest concentration by far is going to be in the Seal Creek area. This section is known for having a plethora of new construction communities. Now, homes in these master plan communities will have an HOA. Single family homes will not have as high or as strict of an HOA as the townhomes and condos, but you will be paying an HOA to keep up with the neighborhood's standards and to cover the amenities, which is going to lead us into our next lifestyle. When it comes to homes with community amenities, you're going to have a ton of options in the Charlotte Metro, from luxury amenities in the high-rise condos to neighborhood amenities in master plan communities. So most of our larger master plan communities built from the mid-1990s and above will have the basic amenities like a pool or a park or a clubhouse. You got to remember, we are in the South. Our summers get pretty brutal, so builders do a pretty decent job at including pools in the community plans. But in addition to your basic run-of-the-mill amenity neighborhoods, you're going to have several neighborhoods within the Charlotte Metro that are heavily amenity enriched. Living here is like living in a resort. These neighborhoods will have everything from sports and tennis courts, multiple pools, fitness centers, golf courses. These neighborhoods are usually pretty massive. Many of them will have options for single family homes and townhomes. And you're going to find a lot of these neighborhoods in the Seal Creek area, specifically neighborhoods like Barrowick and the Palisades. And in North Charlotte, you're going to have Highland Creek, and you're also going to find a handful of these neighborhoods in the suburban towns outside of the 485. And there's really too many to name, but here's a list of some of the most commonly known ones. This is certainly not all of them. So if you would like a list, let me know. I'm more than happy to provide one. And I found these amenity-filled neighborhoods are just really great for people who are new to the city and want to easily meet people. In addition to the community amenities, most of these neighborhoods will have community monthly events. It just makes it a little bit easier to meet people. And then you're going to have the amenities in the high-rise complexes, and they're going to have everything from rooftop terraces, pools, concierge services. And just know that you will be paying an HOA if you decide to live in any of these amenity-filled neighborhoods. The more amenities, the higher your HOA. So a lot of people love and even move to North Carolina for our nature and the outdoors. Now, while Charlotte is not like Boone or Asheville in terms of outdoor culture, we do have some really excellent places for people who enjoy living a more outdoorsy lifestyle. And I found that my clients who love a more active outdoorsy lifestyle tend to gravitate towards the western side of Charlotte for a few different reasons. So you're not far from hiking at Crowder's or Kings Mountain. You've got all of the great iconic mountain towns like Asheville, Brevard, and Boone in closer proximity. You've got the U.S. Whitewater Center. And if you're not familiar with the Whitewater Center, this is a haven for people who love the outdoors. This outdoor facility sits along the Catawba River. You've got tons of water sports, miles of hiking and biking trails. You've even got rock climbing and zip lining. And aside from that western area, you of course have our greenways. These are going to be miles and miles of trails throughout the metro area. Many of them are going to run through various neighborhoods. They're perfect for biking, hiking, jogging, or just walking and enjoying nature. Also, many of our master plan communities were designed with the outdoors in mind. So it is not uncommon to find neighborhoods with their own hiking and biking trails. Many even have nature preserves. And then we have lake living. So living in Charlotte, you're gonna have easy access to a few different lakes. Each one's gonna have its own distinct living experience. So Lake Norman is gonna be in the northern area. This is the largest man-made lake in North Carolina. It's gonna encompass several towns, most well-known being Mooresville, Cornelius, and Davidson. And Lake Norman has a reputation for being the more affluent, higher-end lake area. Cornelius and Mooresville will be home to some of the most stunning, grandiose lakefront properties in North Carolina, while the town of Davidson is known for its adorable historic downtown. Now, homes in these towns will come with a higher price tag than those on the western side of the lake. And the town of Huntersville is another really great area if you want to be by Lake Norman. While it's not directly on the lake, the proximity is a huge selling point for a lot of people. Now, one thing I do want to note about living near Lake Norman. So a few years ago, there were some environmental concerns raised in this area, specifically in relation to coal ash and cancer clusters. Now, there hasn't been much talk or news coverage as of lately, but if this is a concern of yours, I do encourage you to do some research. So our next major lake will be Lake Wylie, and Lake Wylie will be on the border of North Carolina and South Carolina. This is going to be more of the laid-back, relaxed lake lifestyle. There are a ton of master plan communities along Lake Wylie. We have a couple of videos that showcase some of these neighborhoods. I'm going to link this down below for you. And then we have Mountain Island Lake. While not as well known as the other lakes or as big, there are some great neighborhoods and homes along Mountain Island Lake. It's also going to be closest to Uptown Charlotte, so it's great for commuters. So there you have it. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you a little bit more insight as to where you should zero in on. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Again, my name is Milena. Here's all my information. It's also down below. If you're thinking of buying a house or selling a house in Charlotte, please don't hesitate to reach out. My calendar link is also linked down below as well.